The first Coach Poe show of 2024 is here, and we have a great show in store for you today. Today, I'm joined by first-year Carson-Newman head football coach, Ashley Ingram. Prior to arriving at Carson-Newman, Coach Ingram was at the Naval Academy for 16 seasons, spending time as the offensive line coach, offensive coordinator, and assistant head coach. Prior to his time at the Naval Academy, Coach Ingram was the offensive coordinator at Bucknell University for 2 seasons, and prior to that, Rhode Island for 6 seasons. Coach Ingram is no stranger to Division II football, having graduated from North Alabama, where they three-peated as national champions during his time there from 1993 to 1995. Welcome, Coach Ingram, to the Coach Poe Show.
Thanks for having me. Excited to do this.
Excellent, Coach. Well, we're going to dive right into it. Know how valuable time is during football season. So for those people out there that don't know much about Carson-Newman, give us that 30-second elevator speech about Carson-Newman under Coach Ingram.
Well, I think first and foremost, when you think Carson-Newman, I think you got to think one of our country's great Christian universities. So it's obviously a place that believes in Christian character and faith, and we're trying to obviously preach that to our players. I think the other thing you think about when you think about Carson-Newman is I think you think about 5 national championships throughout the 80s. I think Carson-Newman's played for 5 other national championships, and then obviously the legacy that Ken Sparks left here, with 338 wins and 5-time national champion. But it's a special place. There's great people here, and I'm just blessed to be here.
Excellent, Coach. You talked about the legacy that Carson-Newman has. I got to imagine that was probably what led to your intrigue with this job. But, having spent a lot of time at the Division I level, what made Carson-Newman that job that was that job for you? That this is it. This is what I'm gonna go after.
Right. Well, I think I have long desired to be a head coach, but for me to leave the Naval Academy, a place that I loved, a place that my family loved. I mean, I just loved everything about it. The mission of the school. The young men that I got to coach there. I mean, it was just really a dream come true. So for me to leave Navy, I was going to have to check a few boxes, or a place was. I had a few opportunities over the years. One, I think the mission of the institutions. I think I was going to have to find a place that maybe was more than football, and Carson-Newman certainly checked that for me. I know the difference we can make in people's lives here. But the other thing is, obviously, as a football coach, well, you want to go to a place that cares about football. You want to go to a place that is committed to winning football. And Carson-Newman definitely is committed to winning football games here, and they've been doing it for a long time. And I think the level was not a concern for me. It was just a place where I could go implement a system and know that I was going to have full support of the university, and I certainly have that here.
That's fantastic, Coach. That's awesome. And you talked about that support. Talk a little bit about your first 9 months and what that's been like. You've been there for roughly about 9 months in Mossy Creek. What has that been like in your short time there?
It's been great. Our president is certainly behind me, Dr. Fowler. He's been certainly a blessing to me. Our athletic director, Matt Pope, has been great. I retained quite a bit of the staff. Most of the defensive staff stayed around. I was fortunate to be able to keep a guy like Larry Slade here, who's a great, really one of the great football coaches of the last, quarter century or so. But the players have just been awesome. You come in and we're in this world of transfer portal. We're in this world of spread offenses, and we've come in and we're trying to emulate what we did at the Naval Academy through everything we do, discipline and building character, and really pouring into these young men. We're also running an option offense, and we did not lose a single person on offense to the transfer portal after spring ball. And the guys have just been great. They've been embraced, and what it showed me is you're at a place with tradition, and they are hungry to win. They're hungry to continue this tradition. They've been awesome, and we're still a work in progress. We're still kind of learning our system. We're probably taking baby steps.
Yeah.
But it's just been great, and the people here in East Tennessee have just been wonderful to me and my family.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. You talked about not losing anybody in the transfer portal, and I'd argue that may be almost unheard of in college football today. But And that probably is a big reason why you guys have started out 3-0 with some convincing wins early, a gritty 3-point win against a ranked Wingate team this week. But what do you attribute that success to here early in year one?
Well, I think the one thing is I knew what I wanted to do, and everything to me has been about developing these young men, pouring into these young men, uh, building discipline. If I've told our guys, if we could be the closest team in the country and we could be the toughest team in the country, obviously there's no way to measure that, but those are the things we're focusing on. I know these guys really care about each other. I know they want to do well for each other. I know they want to play hard for each other. So the whole theme, and it's on my shirt, it's on everything. It's just brotherhood. So we're preaching that each and every day. So it's just a credit to the coaching staff. It's a credit to the players for buying in. And like you said, we've had some really nice wins. We played a really, really good Wingate team this past weekend. I mean, they're big, they're strong, they're physical. They've had a lot of continuity there. So for us to be able to find a way to win that game, I'm not sure we were the best team, but we found a way. And I think it just speaks volumes to the buy-in from the young men that we've got in the program.
Yeah, those games are always tough, and it's great to come out with the win and continue building that brotherhood and that program like you talked about. How do you keep the expectations in line and keep everybody focused, keep the focus on the main thing, as you go through
Right.
a football season's long. And so how do you keep everybody focused and keep kind of those expectations in check?
Well, I just kind of, it's the message is, we got to win today. And I just heard a Mike Lombardi quote. I was listening to, I think it was GM Shuffle this week riding to work, but he mentioned intensity impresses, but consistency transforms. And we've really talked about just being consistent. If we want to transform as a program, we've got to be consistent. If we want to transform as individual players, if you want to transform your life, you just got to be consistent in what you do. So the message this week was nothing that we did last Saturday is going to make any difference when we play Catawba this weekend. And nothing we've done up to this point is going to make a difference in the game. We've got to show up and we got to play. But more importantly, that we just have to continue to prepare every single day and just take it one day at a time. And if we can do that, I think we'll have a chance. And the motto's been, it was like 1 down, 1 to go. Now it's 3 down, 1 to go. So we just try to take it one game at a time and one day at a time.
Excellent. Yeah. And that I think builds into this next question here, Coach. You take it one day at a time, and you have some pretty tough games coming up in the South Atlantic Conference, tough conference top to bottom. Talk a little bit about what you want to see from your team in those games. Again, because football season is a long season, 10, 11 games can take its toll on teams. What do you want to see from your team in each of those games?
Well, I know what, wins football games. It obviously got to score points. So points are of the utmost importance on both sides of the ball. What kind of translates into that is obviously we got to take care of the football. We've done a good job doing that so far, knock on wood. We want to be the least penalized team in the country. A couple of weeks back against West Virginia State, we had 13 penalties. I coached at the Naval Academy, and I shared this with the team for 191 games, and we averaged 3.77 penalties per game over 191 games. So we want to be the least penalized team in the country. And then, fortunately, like offensively against Wingate the other day, I think we had 1 5-yard penalty. So we don't want to beat ourselves. And so that's really what I want to see. I want to see us play really hard, but I want to see us play really clean football. And, if somebody's going to beat us, let them line up and beat us. But we don't want to beat ourselves, certainly.
Yeah. One of the things I've seen from watching some Carson-Newman football early this season is, you've had some injuries, particularly at the quarterback position, and it seems like it's just been the next man up mentality. How do you preach that at practice? How do you incorporate that into your program? Just next guy up, and we're going to handle our business.
Well, honestly, we just don't make a big deal about it, and we don't hang our head. We don't walk around. We're not going to curl up in a ball if we get an injury at any spot. We're just going to keep playing football. And but the way we practice on offense is we kind of double huddle everything. We've got a big roster here, and we had this model at the academy. So we've got a big roster, and we rep 4 or 5 quarterbacks every day. And honestly, we've got a good group of like 5 quarterbacks here that we feel like we can win with. Now, not a lot of people would say that, but we had a guy that we lost for the season who was our starter, kind of a freak accident. We had a guy get hurt in the game Saturday. We went with our 3 and was able to win the game with him. Well, late in the game, he hurt his shoulder. We'll get him back. And our 4th quarterback, his grandmother passed away, so he was not available to us. So we finished the game against Wingate with our 5th quarterback. So that's just the way we approach it, and we just have this mentality, like you said, of next man up, and we don't talk about it. If we put you out on the field, we expect you to perform, and now certainly we don't want that to happen at any position. We certainly don't want to happen at the quarterback position, but we're just trying to build now, and I've been just super impressed with how resilient our team has been up to this point.
Yeah, it's that you could tell just in watching film and in watching you guys play. It's fun to watch. It's fun to see that next man up mentality. I love it. So, is there anybody that's particularly, whether it's offense, defense, special teams, that's really surprised you here early on? Just anybody standing out to you?
Well, when I got here, I kept hearing about Major Williams, who's like an All-American candidate. Every NFL team's been through to see him at safety. He hasn't disappointed. He's been a great player. He's been a great leader. He's already graduated. He won an award in the education department. He was named yesterday as a semifinalist for the Campbell Trophy for like the academic Heisman. He's just a great young man. He's been impressive. Our quarterback room, I've just been impressed with our quarterback room and how they've responded. We've got a freshman offensive lineman named Turk Daniels, Jaquavian Daniels, who he's got a chance to be really special. He started all 3 games at left guard, but I think this kid's got All-American qualities about him. I've just been impressed with our football team. We got a new punter, Grayson Campbell, that came in. He's just booming the ball. He's been a weapon for us. So just overall, I've been impressed with all the young men, but those are some guys that just kind of come to mind.
That's excellent. Yeah. Major Williams is on everybody's radar, but it's awesome to hear some of those other guys stepping up and being the leaders, not just in the program, but around campus and in the community. So that's fantastic. Lastly, Coach, talk about your expectations for this program. Talk about where you see it now and where you see it in the future.
Well, I think, as I mentioned earlier, I knew exactly what I was walking into when I came here. Coach Sparks set the standard for Carson-Newman football, and it's to win SAC championships, to get into the national playoffs, and then contend and compete for national championships. I don't see any reason we can't do that. Honestly, those expectations and the history of Carson-Newman is why I chose to come to Carson-Newman. But so we have all those things in mind, and we certainly want to win championships here. But I know this is all we can control is today. We want to be our very best today. Obviously, we want to be our very best this Saturday, and we'll continue to do that throughout the season. We've got to go recruit, and we've got to get players here that can help us win a championship. And but those are the expectations of Carson-Newman. And the other thing is, obviously, we talk about winning all the time, but my recruiting pitch here, and a lot of this is from Coach Nehemiah at Navy, is really what we want to do is we want to graduate young men of Christian faith and character. And we want them to leave Carson-Newman a better person than what we got. And we want to send them out into society so they can make a difference. So ultimately, that's what we want to do. And if we can win some football games and win some championships along the way, we'd certainly be pleased with that as well.
That is awesome, Coach. That is fantastic. That sounds great. We'll all be tuned in this week to watch y'all on the road at Catawba and the rest of the way this season. So, thanks for taking time with us today. I know your schedule's super packed. So thank you for taking time, talking a little bit about Carson-Newman football and about Coach Ingram. So good luck this Saturday. Good luck the rest of the season. And we'll be watching for you.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to come on, and thank you for all that you do. And I guess go Eagles.
Thanks, Coach.